What's going on? What's going on? What's going on? Thank you guys again for joining me for another episode of What's in Your Studio. Baby, baby. And what's going on with your photos, baby? I appreciate you guys coming checking me out one more time. Hey, this is what we're going to talk about today, real quick and easy. It's called depth of field. And you're like, what in the world is depth of field? Have you ever just kind of figured out what is the definition for depth of field? Well, let me make it simple for you. It is the distance between your subject and your lens, right? And the sharpness. That's it. Distance, subject, sharpness. You say, well, Mr. Antwyone, that's not all it is. Well, primarily, that's what it is. You want to verify what is being sharp in your image and what is not being sharp in your image. That is what the depth of field is. Now, how that is done, we're going to go a little bit into that. So let's get to it. So, and if you like videos like this, please do subscribe and join and hit the bell and all the good stuff and share it with your friends and let them know. We're about to get into it. So check this out. So my I'm gonna do something right now that lets you know that the depth of field is all about focus and sharpness. As you can see behind me, the things are behind me is getting out of focus the closer I'm getting to the screen, right? And as I come out, I'm still trying to be in sharpness. Now my whole image is sharp. That this is considered a deep depth of field. All right. I have my camera on autofocus, so it's tracking me wherever I move. It's tracking me to keep me in focus. But I'm on a very, very, very deep depth of field because everything behind me at this distance is in focus. Because you can even see my hands; they are still in focus as they're moving, and my face is still in focus. But once my hands get closer, my face is still in focus, but my hands start to get out of focus. So you see how that works. That is the sharpness in that depth of field. Now, what does that mean for you taking a picture and how you want to take your pictures? For me as a portraiture or fashion photographer, which I love fashion, I love being outside, and I love dealing with the elements. No, I don't, but I do, right? We all got our Achilles, and trust me, if the sun is out, I want to be inside. I'm just going to be quite frankly with you. I mean, I like cloudy days versus, sunny days when it comes to photography. Anyway, off my subject matter here, which is depth of field. Getting back into it, what registers as depth? The depth. What is the depth? You have shallow and you have deep, right? You guys keep your minds in the right gutter. All right. So you have shallow depth of field and you have a deep depth of field. Okay. And a deep depth of field is what you see now. That means everything with, if my hands is right here and I'm moving forward, this is considered what everything stays in focus. Okay. That is a deep depth of field that everything is in focus all at the same time. Now, a shallow depth of field would be is if I'm in focus, right? Or the element of what's sharp is in focus and what behind me is gets out of focus. Okay. So again, that's the shallow. So what is that? Again, what is that? In my lens choice, I have your lens choices that you can make. So you have telephoto lenses, which is any lens that can extract or detract is a telephoto lens, right? Because it can come out of the lens or it's embedded too. They have the embedded ones that's considered telephoto. But I mean, it gives it more distance. Your lens has more distance to protrude away from the camera, which engages into that depth of field a different way as well. Okay, so let me um, have a real conversation with you. All right, yes, you can have a shallow depth of field. If you move further back, you can create a um, deep depth of field by your distance. From that means where your camera is at. Okay, so my distance, if I'm at a 1.2, 1.8, things like that, and my distance to my subject is right here, right? So my distance to this is my subject. And if I move my camera further back, I am creating a deeper depth of field, meaning more of this, and everything behind me will be in focus more. Okay. This is what just the same way as I demonstrated. So if I'm at 1.8, which is a shallow depth of field, my subject is right here, and I can see really a good amount of my subject, right? And then, I mean, a great amount of my subject is in focus because it's just sharpness. It's the sharpness. and then everything behind it, like my hand and my fingers, are not in focus. But the cup where this name is at, this nameplate, and maybe where the handle's at, that's really in focus. I can get right there on that handle, and then the cup can be out of focus. But as soon as I move it further back, the entire cup can become in focus, even though you're at a very, very shallow depth of field setting up, because your distance, that's why I remember I said distance and sharpness. So I want you guys to understand that. So I'm going to give you guys a prime example. So before I do that, what is a deep depth of field? Okay, that means your f-stop is probably at a 7.1, 8, 9, 11. It's going to give you more of the picture in sharpness, more of the picture in sharpness. So that's what you're going to be looking at. So I got to stop looking up at myself. I got my camera right here, got the screens all this other place. So forgive me if you guys see me doing that. Just go along and look at my eyes. Just look at my eyes. Anyway, so that's what you want to be able to do, is try to engage with your distance from that. So I'm going to show you my 70, 200, 2.8 camera. Okay, well, not camera, but my an image. All right. So this image was taken with a longer lens at a shallow depth of field. Okay, but my distance was, because if you guys know um, anything about lens choices and focal points. So if I go up to an 85 to a 105, because I was more than likely shooting at a 105, because I love shooting at 105 when I do my fashion. It's just what I like, between 105 and 118, around that. So I'm kind of dialing in my distance of my telephoto lens, right? Because if it's at 70 and then it has this big old lens that comes out, it's really huge, and the focal thing is bigger, right? So I was probably at not probably, I know I was at between 101 to 121. So in that range. That means my frame is gonna be tighter, right? Because if I go from if I have a you know uh, 24, right, of 24 lens, or a let's say a 50 lens, um, even down. I think I got even down to an 18. Right, it's really really wide lens, right? And my fisheye lens is really wide, right? So you have these wider lenses that gives you more of the picture. So if you're taking, if I'm doing a 70, if I'm doing a 105, if I'm doing a 200, it's a lot tighter, because it's trying to stay in focus to what you're doing. Stay in focus, okay? To what that distance of the where that piece that the participation is at. But there's elements that will happen while it's trying to stay in focus, because that is such a short frame. Okay, you guys are still with me? Okay, so when you do that, when you step back further, certain things happen. It still goes, and you're still your subject is still sharp, but there's still things that's happening, right? Certain things that's out of, it's going to be kind of sharp, not sharp, right? Because you're at f2 3.1, still wide. You can still focus in on your subject. You're further away, more things will become sharp, but you will still have some things that kind of dance around to be not so much in sharpness. So if you look at that image, this image that I have right here, if you look at the back of it, is that it is bokeh. It's out of focus. It's not sharp. But you can see right here, this rock is very sharp. She is very sharp. Okay. The rock in front of her is not sharp. This one down here is not sharp. The one that's below on the left hand side is not sharp. Okay. So I'm gonna go over here so you can see. This one right here is not sharp. Okay. That one. This is sharp because it aligns with her, right? Where I was focused in on. This little part back here is not sharp. And this part right here is not sharp, not sharp. But look at that boot. That boot is sharp as all get out. Right? Because I was dialed in with using a lens that I was further back from. But things in play will happen. So how do you build that depth of field in your shot? Is that you understand that your main subject and what you're looking at and those elements around you And what that distance is playing with, you're gonna see those things still happen. That shallowness is still gonna happen because it's wider. It's trying to fight what it's supposed to fight. But if you change that thing to F, if I had this at F9 to F8 to F11, if I had this shot at F11 and then I go back, it still will make everything sharp. It's meant to make everything as sharp as possible because that's what it the depth of field is creating. Whew, I hope I made that sense to you because I know I almost lost a few nuggets of my brain cells. So deep dive into it, make it real quick and easy for you as a creator. All right. So you will want to understand this. Why can't I have my pictures look like those pictures that's in the magazine or those pictures that I see, in my maybe it's what you're studying or what you're trying to develop. There's so many levels to understanding those intricate parts about the science of what is happening with our lenses and our cameras and all those other good things that's happening. Mirrorless cameras now. Oh my gosh, which I have a mirrorless camera now, the Canon R5 II, and I know they're coming out with something else soon. And yeah, let them come. All right. But I truly want you guys to understand that the real beautiful thing about photography is you always can continue to learn. But I'm not going to keep you guys here longer. Hopefully, this helps you engage with learning what you're trying to learn. Again, if you're a professional, and again, professional, novice, beginners, depth of field is still important to you. I'm telling you right now, and you can still learn a thing or two about the intricate parts of your depth of field with many things, but in alignment with the choices that you choose, with the types of shots you're going for as well, because you got to think about it. If I was going out taking landscape shots, right, I would want a what? Shallow depth of field, or would I want a deep depth of field? Now, you can play with both because you want a portion of it to be in focus and another portion not in focus. So you're gonna be playing with that depth of field of the sharpness in one part not. If I'm shooting animals, I want my animal to be sharp, but I want the things around it to be not so sharp. So I'll be playing with the depth of field. And it's definitely you're gonna be shooting with long lenses when you're shooting wild animals. So you're gonna be really playing with where do I really want to land on this shot. So, and that comes to place in how you do your focal points as well, because it's very important. Because if you're doing that right, you're going to be engaging pretty well. So, if you're going into spaces that you're like, man, every time I go in here and if my camera's not working, check your settings. All right. If you're on automatic or AV or AF, AT, I'm sorry, AT, AF, AV, one of those. Anyway, if you on anything that's auto, that messes with your f stop, trust me, you are going to be in a world of hurt trying to figure that out. But it's fun when it happens. So let's say, for instance, if I'm in a place that I know that I can focus on one thing, especially with sport. But I know I want the image around it to kind of be blurred. So I know I'm going to be looking at certain things. Like if a person's trying to kick a ball, I'm going to be focusing on the foot, and then the ball's going to be blurry. The field may be blurry, or I focus right there on the person, the first person, maybe the second person is out of focus, but that energy is still there in the shot because of that. So there's a lot of things you can play with depth of field to create a story. If you're moving, if you're moving and like you're on a train or car, you can do auto on that end because it's very hard for manual in that instance because if you're shooting really fast and you're trying to create some things, so yeah, you can use auto AV, auto the AT, AV, AT on that as well. So, but if you're really wanting to control your measures, go in manual, set your cameras up right, know what type of lenses that you want to use, and engage into your shots that way. So that's all I have right now, man. I appreciate you guys' time and your dime, man. My Antwyone Washington. This is Studio 5, and this has been another episode of What's in Your Studio. And listen, I'm not perfect. I'm just trying to get there. All right. Until next time, man. Keep shining and grinding. Oh, ooh, ooh. I'm out.